Myrtle Beach is the economic engine that drives South Carolina. Meet its driver coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Puckett, Sheets & Hogan, the Grand Strand's largest independent insurance agency on 21st Avenue North in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on the city of Myrtle Beach, and we're visiting with its city manager, Tom Leath. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Friday morning at 7. Of course, Puckett, Sheets & Hogan was so kind to open up an hour early to let us in all week. We've had some amazing folks with Mary Martin, who was with us on Wednesday. You know, the district governor for Rotary over a 25-county area. Yesterday we had an attorney from Womble, Carlisle, Sandridge, and Rice with us. Earlier in the week, obviously, Mike helped kick off the week, and had a funeral director on Monday. Very interesting time. I don't know if you've ever caught any funeral directors talking about their activities, but a lot has to happen there. And, of course, a lot happening here at Puckett, Sheets & Hogan.
Yeah.
Are you originally from the area, Tom?
No, I was born in Spartanburg, spent some time in Charleston as my dad went to medical school, but I grew up in Charlotte.
In Charlotte, in the Tar Heel State.
Yeah.
Oh, so you are a Carolina person.
I am born and bred, yes. Hadn't moved far from home.
Not at all. That's fascinating. And I think I saw you went to law school and were an attorney for a while.
I went to USC for undergraduate school, law school, and also got a master's degree in public administration from USC. I worked for the state for a couple of years. In 1980, went to Bennettsville, practiced law for 5 years, and then in 85 came to the beach. Mm-hmm.
Had you always thought about being an attorney? I mean, is that something you thought about at an early age? You said your dad was a doctor?
Yeah. Yeah, he was not real happy when I became an attorney. But no, I had not really thought much about it going into college.
Right.
Really wasn't much of a student.
Oh, yeah.
And so I didn't give a whole lot of thought to what was going to happen next year, much less, when I graduated.
Right.
And it just sort of came about, fell into place. I was going to law school and got sort of bored and started taking master's degree courses at night. Mm-hmm. So ended up with a master's degree, and so never really planned much ahead.
A JD and a master's, that's tremendous. Of course, the activities of just trying to stay in law school, let alone get a master's at the same time, that's a great commitment. So you actually began to think while you were in law school maybe you'd want to get into public administration?
Yeah, I really thought, once I got into law school, I really wasn't sure that I wanted to practice law. Mm-hmm. And so I started sort of thinking about what else could I do. Mm-hmm. We had some friends, and I didn't think about it at the time, but we had friends that grew up with, whose dad worked for the city of Charlotte.
Right.
So I was exposed to the city, I think, through him, and that must have made more of an impression on me than I realized at the time. But looking back on it, I think that's where my impetus came from.
Right.
And so there was a joint degree program available to me.
Right.
I could take some law courses and credit that towards a master's and vice versa.
Sure.
Ended up saving about half a year of getting 2 degrees. So we did that.
That probably helps a lot in your role as Myrtle Beach's city manager, in that with a legal background, being able to, and of course working in tandem with the city attorney, but being able to think about things from a legal perspective as well as just a general public administration's perspective.
It does help. The thing about law school is it really teaches someone how to think in a certain way, how to break down complicated issues and sort of repackage them in a way that anyone can understand. And so there's a thought process that we learned in law school that has been really helpful in government. And the idea that you've got some legal background helps. Most everything you do has a legal consequence to it. Every decision that you make as a city manager has a legal consequence. And so it's sort of nice to sort of understand that part of it. But I think the thinking part has probably helped me the most.
This year, celebrating 20 years as the city manager? Is that right?
Yeah.
20 years?
Came to the city in 85 and was named a city manager in 1987, November of 87.
So it literally next month celebrating 20
Yes.
years. I'm sure the city's planning some big festivities for that.
I don't think so.
You would probably know about it. That's right. That's right. They kept it on the QT then, probably. Yes. So much happening in the city right now. How was the summer for the city, Tom?
Summer of the city was good. It started out sort of slow for the business sector.
Right.
But it really picked up steam towards the end of the summer. And I think most of the business sector overall did well during the summer. There are a lot of new hospitality rooms available. The competition there is keen. The growth in that industry or that segment for the individual hotels may not have been as much as they would have liked, but I think overall even they were for the most part pleased at the end of the summer. So
last week we were filming at the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, and sitting there in the lobby on Wednesday and Thursday hearing Brad Dean talk about, in particular, a $10 million that had been raised locally to get a $5 million match from the state to help generate more of, as he said, and exactly what you just said, obviously more rooms in town, the need to get more heads in beds. Very important. Very important. Also, he talked about last Thursday night's the opportunity to get out to Family Kingdom, a real big highlight for the area. I think this summer recognized as one of the top 10 amusement parks. Top five in the country. Big deal.
Our only oceanside amusement park.
Right.
We had a lot of people email us about the demise of the pavilion and the rides that were a part of that.
Right.
And we wrote back and said, there is Family Kingdom. Please go there and create. They were talking about we all came as kids and had this memory, and we wanted to bring our kids or our grandchildren. We said, well, go to Family Kingdom and create your own new memories.
Yes,
of these
my daughter
parks.
and I created a lot there this summer. A lot at the pavilion, obviously, last summer, but a ton at Family Kingdom this summer. It's an amazing area. It really is, and a great park. And of course, that older wooden roller coaster. She's not yet tall enough, but she will be. She's thinking about it. The city extends, and Larry Bragg was with us last Monday and Tuesday, and he talked about the city, and obviously up in the Grand Dunes area and all the way down to the air base. A lot happening in those two areas when we think about Grand Dunes and we think about the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base, which is it entirely in the city of Myrtle Beach, Tom?
4,000 acres of the old base entirely within the city came in the 70s into the city. And if you have not gone to the base, I know you obviously have because you have an office out there.
Yeah.
But for those who have not gone out there lately, it's just unbelievable the amount of stuff that's being done on the base. Market Commons, residential areas, Withers Preserve, Lennar building houses. Shikora's got a housing development going on out there. The city has massive plans for the park. And it's just really exciting to see what's going on out there.
To see it under construction and to think about real centerpieces of what a lot of folks, just hearing about Barnes & Noble was such a big deal. The idea they would leave Seaboard Commons and move down to the Market Common in and of itself was a huge coup. But when you start hearing about P.F. Chang's and Orvis and obviously even Devine doing a fancy restaurant there, and to see the beautiful infrastructure being put in place. Just in, a lot of folks are talking about the Market Common as if it's the 3,900 acres, as opposed to it just being a 140-acre sliver of what it'll all become.
It is truly an urban downtown that is being built from the ground up on about 200 acres.
Right.
But it'll have a very urban downtown feel to it. So.
As you say, if folks haven't been in there, let's talk for a minute, if you want to break down, Tom, for folks that are traveling south, let's say on 17 Business, and they would come up there to the former front gate of the Air Force Base. What are they going to see? And you do, and I'm sure you come in contact with folks who haven't been on the air base in a long time or say, I haven't been in there in a year and a half. I say, you need to get down there. But can you give viewers just a sense of what all's there if they enter there on Faro Parkway at the former front gate?
Sure. Faro Parkway itself is basically new and goes all the way through the base. It's a 5-lane center median, lots of landscaping, big, probably twice the number of trees that one would expect on a road like that, twice the number of street lights. Very, very much of a visual impact, particularly at night. But as you go through into the base, you pass Warbird Park, where the new was the new location for the static airplane displays that give the history of Myrtle Beach. Those 3 planes actually flew out of Myrtle Beach at one time or another.
Is that right?
You enter into an area which has live-work units, commercial downstairs, 400 square feet, commercial areas downstairs, and then residential units above. So you can live above where you work, or you can live above and rent the bottom out to someone else, or vice versa. David Stradinger, Winchester Development, is building a lot of that. One of my predecessors is involved in that. He and Sam Burns. Sam Burns was the former planning director for the city.
Is that right? Good for them.
Additional straight-up condominiums will also be built, so you'll go through sort of a transitional residential to commercial area there. As you go on around Faro, on the left-hand side is what we call Grand Park, which is a 90-acre park.
Is it 90 acres?
90 acres. That has a huge lake, which was really built for stormwater control, but can be used to walk around, to enjoy. We'll have some paddle boats in there eventually.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bridge over that lake, or two bridges over that lake into the park itself. As far as the park is concerned, we're going to route Myers, which goes right through the middle of the park now. We're going to route it around the edge of the park so that we'll have a contiguous park space. The ball fields that are there now near the lake will be relocated back away from Market Commons on the back end of the park, and that area will be turned into a grassy area for concerts or for pickup frisbee or football or what have you. Just a nice place you can go and relax, spread out.
Right.
Crabtree Gym is at the edge of the park. We've got that closed down. Market Commons, McCaffrey Interest, Lennar and Rob O'Neill with Withers Preserve each gave $3 million.
Is that right, Tom?
Of corporate money.
Wow.
Along with money that the Redevelopment Authority provided to actually redo Crabtree. And so we've got that torn up now and closed. In 14 months, we'll reopen that. Brand new gymnasium, brand new handball courts. It's really going to be a nice facility.
Oh, yeah.
On the other side of Faro, across from Grand Park, is Market Commons. It is a commercial area that'll have some residential above. As you walk downtown, you'll have some apartments above the retail stores. But you mentioned a number of very exciting tenants that are already coming. As you go out towards the back gate on Faro, you begin to get into Withers Preserve, the Lennar development, Chicora development, and it's all residential, single family, some multifamily, small lots, big lots, just a full range of opportunities to buy property on the airbase and live there. As you go on further out, you could turn eventually into airport property, and then as you get out to the back gate, there'll be commercial areas out there that will serve both the internal airbase customers as well as people that come down the bypass. So it really is a neat thing. Now, Market Commons is scheduled to open April 08. So literally around the corner,
6 months away.
We're going to open that up.
It's amazing. They have continued to. Of course, I actually live out on the airbase in the former airbase housing out there in Seagate Village, and love that area. But to see so many of the new faces that are going through there, and some of the businesses that have been around, we had moved into UG Street more than a decade ago there, and to see that, of course, Divine Dining and the Myrtle Beach Police Training Facility, that magnificent facility out there, which you all have, but the Base Recreation Center, which is turned into a kind of a gymnasium of a sort, without showers, without some other things. But during this time where Crabtree Gym is down, or Georgetown Tech, Technical College and their facility, there's so many folks, the Coastal Carolina Association of Realtors, that have found their home on the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. It goes on and on.
Yeah, the college has 75 or 80 acres. And the activities that are going on that campus rival what's going on the Conway campus. They've taken the old base hospital and they are turning that into their new nursing center.